Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another Tea Time with Tia for Geek Vibes Nation. I know I didn't do one last week, and I hope that this week's will kind of make up for that. But yeah, welcome to another Tea Time. I'm Tia. That's Lady. Sorry. For those who don't know, when you like film with webcams, it flips everything and it just makes it like a little confusing. So apologies for that. But yeah, this tea time, I wanted to talk a little bit more about WandaVision. Again, I know I did that, I think two tea times ago, but it just keeps getting better and better. If you're not watching WandaVision on Disney Plus, you have to immediately. Every episode just feels as if it's the best episode, and it's not an exaggeration. It just keeps improving. And fair warning, there are spoilers in this tea time. So if you haven't watched really WandaVision and you don't want spoilers, or you haven't gotten a chance to see the fifth episode, again, this is your spoiler warning. And I wanted to say that this tea time was inspired by one of our amazing writers at Geek Vibes Nation, Marty. I will link him down below. Marty has been with us for years, does amazing work, has been doing a ton of interviews lately. And he kind of came up with this whole little idea, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Do you mind if I do a tea time about it? And he was like, go ahead. So he asked the question of, is Wanda becoming like Daenerys on Game of Thrones? Now, if you remember, for those of my Game of Thrones fans, Daenerys was one of the leads in such an ensemble cast that we had seen from day one, pretty much rising above her oppressors, becoming this really strong, powerful woman for so many people to look up to. And then in the eighth season, very sloppily, I might add, the showrunners decided to make her just kind of full blown villain. And she burnt down a city. She was then killed, and went crazy. Blah blah blah. So it's like, all right, that happened with Daenerys. Is that happening with Wanda? So let's examine Wanda a little. Played brilliantly by Elizabeth Olsen. We were first introduced to Wanda in Avengers: Age of Ultron, where she was a villain per se, and through the course of that movie then became an Avenger, fought against Age of Ultron, lost her brother Pietro, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and then she went on to kind of be with the Avengers, stick more so with, say, Captain America. That became even more evident in Civil War, where she teamed up with Captain America after the proposal of the Sokovian Accords and not wanting to essentially be controlled by the government. Then from there, we see her in Infinity War, where she fights alongside Captain America again to try to defeat Thanos, has to end up killing the love of her life, Vision, in order to try to destroy the Mind Stone. And we all know what happened there. She gets blipped out, which I hate that word, by the way. I hate that the MCU has decided to use the blip. Why is it not the snap? After Infinity War, we were all calling it the snap, and then suddenly they called it the blip in Spider-Man Far From Home, and now they're calling it that in WandaVision. I hate that that name stuck, but anyway. Next time we see Wanda is Endgame, when the Avengers, the remaining Avengers, were able to successfully bring back all of those who were blipped away. She was so badass and almost defeated Thanos, as they said in WandaVision, if it weren't for Thanos pretty much deciding to do a Hail Mary with his ships and rain down fire. We all know Wanda would have killed Thanos. But so that's the last time we saw her. At the end of Endgame, after Tony Stark's funeral, her and Clint are looking out to the water, kind of reminiscing the people that they've lost. Obviously, Clint having lost Natasha, and Wanda having lost Vision, and previously having lost Pietro. So, a lot on Wanda. Now we come to WandaVision, that at first we weren't really sure how this whole alternative world kind of happened. In a way, we still really don't know the truth. We know only what they're telling us, which could very well, which I believe is just completely false, right? But so we see Wanda, her and Vision are having the loving relationship that they've always strived to have, but weren't able to have in the movies due to doing Avengers shit. And throughout the episodes, it's becoming very clear that it's going from Wanda and Vision as a happy couple to, is Wanda manipulating Vision? We know now that she's manipulating pretty much the town around her, but is she manipulating Vision? And it's getting to the point where after the third episode, Vision, you can see, is starting to question Wanda and question her motives, and even getting maybe a little bit not scared of her, but maybe a little scared. I'll try and find a picture and superimpose it and everything of someone pointed out in the fifth episode when they were showing kind of all the pictures of Vision and Wanda going, where Vision is getting progressively sadder. And it's like, is that him kind of realizing that he's not fully cognitive in this relationship because, of her powers or whatever? And there was a question of, is Wanda conscious of what's going on? And that was pretty much revealed well, it was revealed at the end of the fourth episode when Monica says that it's all Wanda. And then at some point in the fifth episode, we see Wanda just easily break through the hex and confront Sword and pretty much say, like, I have everything I want now. Stay the hell away from me. So it's like, all right, well, Wanda is fully aware and kind of doesn't care that she's essentially holding this town hostage against their will because she has what she wants. And might I add, Elizabeth Olsen plays scary Wanda so well. I would even propose that it's like, did we, was it a mistake for the MCU to even ever try to make Wanda, say, a hero? Because she just plays like this dangerous person so well. Something we saw in, say, the first half of Age of Ultron, where she was the, person against the Avengers. And now it's like, okay, well, now she's against Sword. I kind of just love it. I'm just saying, but um, so it's like, is Wanda essentially doing the same thing that Daenerys was doing? Someone that we rooted for this whole time because they were essentially repressed, and we see that with, say, Wanda, where her and Pietro grew up in a very poor city, and they were obviously devastated by the loss of their parents due to Tony Stark's weapons back when he was in the weapons field, and them, kind of going through these whole trials with Hydra, getting their powers. It's like, her finally breaking away from the oppressiveness of Hydra and becoming her own person. And, she has this fantastic line in Civil War where, her and Vision are going up against each other, and Vision says, if you do this, they'll never stop being afraid of you. And she says, I can't control their fear, only my own. And that's kind of her final, like, I'm done controlling myself to try to make other people comfortable around me. Like, I'm not going to be this experiment anymore. I'm not going to be this, person in a cage anymore. And it's like, so Wanda has always broke away from all that. It's just with her paired up with, say, Captain America, we've seen it through the lens of, like, she's one of the good guys. She's doing missions with Cap and all that. And she's obviously a good person. She's with Vision. But it's like, Wanda has never really subscribed to the whole Avengers initiative. She's just kind of always happened to go with the people that she's gravitated to, not being an Avenger per se, but being close with Steve Rogers, being close with Clint, being close with Vision. So it's like, in a way, she's never really been, say, a hero per se. She's just always kind of, gone against, like, the really big bad. But we know that Wanda doesn't like authority. We know Wanda doesn't like any of that. So it's like, in a way, um, maybe she's been a step closer than Daenerys has ever been, because Daenerys really came from this very meek, timid woman to such a fierce leader, and then kind of let all that power get to her head. But I don't feel like Wanda is necessarily letting the power get to her head. She's always kind of been like this. It's just that her seeing that there are more evil people out there, such like Ultron. Like for her, she was just getting revenge on, say, a smaller level, whereas Ultron wanted to destroy the whole world. And she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I never said I wanted to go there. I just, wanted revenge against Tony Stark, because I hold him responsible for what happened to my parents. So, in a way, I think that Wanda has never really been, say, the good guy per se, although it does. It sucks a little to see her go through what she goes through. It's like, I feel for you, Wanda. I really do, because it sucks what you went through. But it's like, she's holding, in a way, Vision hostage. I mean, Vision isn't fully cognitive of what's really happening. It was revealed in in episode 5. Vision kind of yells at her saying that he doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know who he was before being in Westview. And that's kind of like, oh, so he has no memory of what happened at all in the timeline. It's like, if a Vision who had these memories still, being in Westview, would he be even as, complacent as, say, this Vision is? And we see that this Vision is starting to become less complacent because he's learning. And that's how Vision is. But I believe that if Vision had the knowledge that, of his former life, that he would even push back harder with Wanda. And in a way, Wanda like knows what she's doing, and she's not really caring. We see again in episode 5 her telling the Sword members that she has what she wants and no one will convince her otherwise. And there's a scene in episode 5 where she and Vision are fighting in the kitchen, and Vision essentially says, you can't just kind of brush over this argument. And she's like, oh, can't I? And she starts rolling the credits, and it's like, she was fully aware that Vision is having questions, and she's not even open to letting him ask these questions. And it's so confusing. I love it though. Don't get me wrong. But even we as the audience don't really know if she's telling the truth or not. We see at the end of that episode, which is the latest episode, her telling Vision that she doesn't have full control of what's going on around. She's not responsible for getting people to work on time, or this that or the third. We do know that Wanda has control to a certain degree, but it's like, does she have control of everything else, or does she not? And we see at some point with at that end, as they're having this really intense conversation, that the doorbell rings, and Vision kind of looks at her like, oh, look, you just conveniently let the doorbell ring as we're having this intense conversation. And she's like, I didn't do that. And she genuinely looks very shocked to see Evan Peters as Pietro. Whether it's like it's very confusing, because it's like, Evan Peters is playing the Quicksilver from the Fox universe that, ran during the same time that Age of Ultron was coming out, where Aaron Taylor Johnson was playing Quicksilver. That Quicksilver died in Age of Ultron. So is Wanda bringing back her brother for the sake of, this show, or, is this something else at play? Does she not realize that it's a different person? Because it's not the same as with when, Don Cheadle took over the role as War Machine, or Mark Ruffalo took over the role as Bruce Banner, and it's kind of like, you know, we are just to accept that this is the same person. They just got a different actor because they never said anything in the context of the movies. But in this, Darcy full on says like, "Oh, she recast Pietro." So there's like an cognitive like acceptance and realization that this is not the same Pietro that died in Age of Ultron. So is Wanda controlling? I don't know. I have so much to say, and I know that this video started really with the question of, is Wanda going down the same road that Daenerys went? And as I said before, I think that Wanda's already there. I think that Wanda's line to that is more understandable than Daenerys's progression to it. That didn't make any sense at all, but this makes sense. I do think that there will be a point where Wanda, because I think ultimately Wanda is good in the, the basis, down her heart. I think that Wanda is good, and I think Wanda eventually will snap out of maybe this selfish bubble that she's in, because it's like I understand you wanting what you want, because now after Endgame you coming back and the big bad is defeated, Thanos is no more, and it seems ultimately that all these Avengers can go on their ways and now there's a life afterwards. And Wanda's like, but what life do I have? I don't have my brother. I don't have the love of my life. Tony's dead. Steve is an old man. I mean, what do I have? And it's like, I understand her getting to that point, but I feel that there is going to be a moment where she realizes how much harm what she's doing actually has and will snap out of it eventually. So we're going to see probably Wanda as a villain for a hot second, whether it gets turned back around, or she's just a villain from here on in. I don't know. It's a little confusing because it's like, where are you on the rooting scale? I mean, we started off Age of Ultron, seeing her as the villain. It was being advertised she's the villain, then suddenly we're rooting for her, and then, we're feeling bad for her in Civil War, and we're rooting for her in Infinity War, we're crying for her in Infinity War, and then we're like, yeah, go get Thanos in Endgame, and it's like, now it's like, stop, Wanda. Very up and down. I can't wait to see more of WandaVision. Please let me know, what do you think about the progression of Wanda, and is it going in the direction of Daenerys from Game of Thrones? Also, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Please check out Coldest Water Bottle, for sponsoring this video. Link down below in the description. And yeah, just please let me know what you think of WandaVision. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'll leave my social media links down in the description as well. And please make sure you're always checking out Geek Vibes Nation. Every Saturday, we do a live Marvel Cinematic review with a bunch of other geeky outlets that we are so excited for, such as Geekly Goods, the Nerd Rage podcast, Kinda Nerdy Girls, the Main Damie, the Sports Bar podcast, and just a million more. So please make sure that you check that out every Saturday. We go live. It's a whole lot of fun. We talk about the latest episode of WandaVision, and we'll continue that as the Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out, which just dropped its trailer during Super Bowl and looks amazing. And we'll do that during Loki, and we'll do it during all of the amazing Marvel projects that come out. And hopefully Black Widow will keep its theatrical date. And as I said in a different Tea Time with Tia, hopefully it comes to Disney Plus for those of us who live in states that the movie theaters aren't open. So yeah, everyone, make sure you have a great day. Tell me what you think of WandaVision. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.